Greetings all, it's the old spiritual cockney here, and we're kind of the old festive season, aren't we? And I like to think about the old mince pies. Mince pies, and straight away you're probably thinking about um, sort of like a little bit of creams, getting the old pies, having a good old munch up, getting down your scrag, enjoying all that. Ah, stop all that. Old mince pies is like rhyming slang for the old eyes. And that's really what I'm looking at today. So after I've diverted you there, let's bring you back on what this is really about. So the old mince pies, the old eyes. We're taking a spiritual aspect here. So when you think about the old eyes, they are flipping marvelous, aren't they? You look around you, and straight away when you're using the eyes, you're absorbing all this lovely information. Oh, and it's like a miracle. You're looking around, it's like your own personal camera, bringing all this info into the old noggin of ours, and we're trying to just digest it all, trying to make sense of what's going on. And it's incredible, isn't it? And you have to think of it as a two-way thing, because whilst you're absorbing stuff, it's like as you're looking, as you look at someone, it's a similar kind of thing going on. You're literally, for me, that's how I see it, as you look at someone, that's your energy is going out from you to someone else. It's like your soul is singing to somebody. And and even without a facial expression, imagine we just had these eyes. They can tell so much, can't they? It's like, the color of someone's eyes, how wide they are, how narrow they are. It's almost like you could see what people are really thinking just by looking at the eyes. And if we go back through the ages, through antiquity, and even today, in the modern time, when someone looks at you or you're being stared at, you feel uneasy, don't you? And even if you do it in quite a soft way, people don't like being looked at. And that's kind of it's been unfortunately been a bit inbuilt into us because you go back in times for iniquity and imagine the old Egyptians, the ancient Egyptians or people like that. If you looked like a pharaoh or something in the eye, that wasn't a done thing at all, and you probably haven't put out, I would imagine, because you had to know your place. How often do we see these sort of stories? Don't look at that person in the eye, look down, being subservient. So when someone looks at you, it's almost like, unfortunately, it becomes almost like dominance, doesn't it? They're trying to dominate you, and as opposed to the fact that um, we ought just to be able to just look at each other with that aspect of love, because that's what the eyes are really, is we're expressing that soulful intention, being absorbed, swapping that energy. It's a beautiful thing. So, don't neglect the old peepers there and what they can do. And remember as well, if we go back to as we look at something, we absorb something, it's telling the brain what we're absorbing. And it's through the vision that our brains are able to store that as well as the sounds, isn't it? It's fascinating and quite beautiful that we can hold old memories and old images through what our eyes tell us. So there is so much going on. So don't just be thinking of these as sort of like a little SLR camera that's going around. There's so much more than that. Have the ability to just tell us so much and to reveal so much. And when we get stuff comes into us, they can remember pleasure by the imagery we saw. And of course, the opposite as well. If there was a particularly horrible scene that we saw, we get the same kind of interpretation. So they help us feel, they help us obviously help us see, but even hear it as well. It's all linked in our auditory responses, our visual responses, all coming together, being processed by this supercomputer in your head. Quite amazing. And when the time comes and we're all off our noggin and off we go up to the stars and our life's over, and it's almost like it can be replayed, even though we haven't physically got our eyes anymore. Those brains of ours are still working, and it comes integrated into part of who we are. It's never forgotten. It's like it becomes energy. It becomes a form of energy that's always there, stored to be revisited whenever we want. And obviously, as we get older, our old brains decay a little bit, the physical ones, and it can get a little bit lost in the ether somewhere. But those memorable episodes are stored forever in eternity into our whole makeup, really. And so give these a little bit of TLC. They deserve it, as do you, of course. So remember the old saying, the eyes have it. And I'm not talking about Houses of Parliament here. I'm talking about the old peepers. The eyes do have it. They see everything. They reveal everything. And, you know, let's look with those soft gazes rather than the hard stares. And on that note, I'll leave you there to ponder those few little thoughts of mine. You know, occasionally I have these little insights, and I'd be love to know what your thoughts are on the old eyes. And if you're like me, these are old eyes and all. And I shall leave you there. Much love to you all. Do take care until next I speak. See you soon.